I believe the government, luckily the defense minister is here. The service chiefs all are represented there. I think we will need a slightly different approach, and God willing. The military services don't play unnecessary politics. Well, we know there's politics everywhere, but they play the politics of within the army, not the kind of politics we play.
Please hold on, I beg, make una watch this video to the end. A lot of secrets don't they expose. Everything wey Nnamdi Kanu even talk, Jonathan don't rightly talk right now. Division now is the best for everyone. So I'm not gonna just talk much. I go allow una watch this video from the start to the ending and share this video to everyone on every social media platform. Now the only way on fit take encourage support us. Don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates. Listen to what Jonathan talk about the division and everything you need to know about this Nigeria, about this country. Watch to the end and share this video.
Military officers who were involved in this Boko Haram saga to be able to give us information about what the Boko Haram stood for. If it is only about hunger, because we tried different options, I don't need to give a sermon. It will look as if I am trying to defend my own government. That will come up later when we will document, we'll write our books. But I believe we took different options, set different committees. We tried our best within that 5 years that I was there. I believe late Buhari too must have tried his best, because one of the committees we set up then, the Boko Haram nominated Buhari to lead their team to negotiate with government. So I was feeling that, if they nominated Buhari to represent them and have a discussions with the government committee, then when Buhari took over, it could have been an easy way to negotiate with them, and they would have handed over their guns, but it was still there till today. I believe the government, luckily the defense minister is here. The service chiefs all are represented there. I think we will need a slightly different approach, and God willing. The military services don't play unnecessary politics. Well, we know there's politics everywhere, but they play the politics of within the army, not the kind of politics we play. But after leaving office, I realized that quite a number of professionals in the security services play dirty politics. But General Rabo is one person that does not get into that. White is white, black is black. Thank you, you're a gift to this country. And the title of the book is quite interesting. Scars and the Boko Haram Conundrum. It is interesting because, when I was in office, and one of the major scars on my government, and it would be on my face, and like Bishop Cook has said, no plastic or cosmetic surgeon can remove it, is the issue of the Chibok girls. It's a scar that I will die with. But later on, people may know a little more details. And that's also to do with the Boko Haram. What do they really want? Of course, our chairman raised the issue when interviewed some of them, and they gave him some perspective. But probably one day, I pray that some of the Boko Haram leaders may be literate enough to document what they have done, so that people will really know what they wanted. Because it's like the story of the Nigerian Civil War. If you read one of the books, My Command, I think that's one of the first books that came out from President Obasanjo, because he was there. Then Ojukwu wrote his own, Because I Am Involved. So when those who were involved in something say it, you get a different perspective. If you go through a research, interview a lot of people, yes, you'll get part of the story, but you will never get the full story of the Boko Haram. Because I was there. The Boko Haram started 2009 when I was the vice president to late Yaradua. Of course, I took over 2010. for 5 years, battling with Boko Haram until I left. I thought that immediately I leave, within a reasonable time, late General Buhari was going to wipe them out, but till today, the Boko Haram is still there. So the issue of Boko Haram is a little more complex than sometimes we can conjecture. In 1999, when Obasanjo just became a president, we know we had some issues in the Southwest. But government was able to bring it down because there was a clear focus, there was clear reason, and government was able to. Then we had issues in the Niger Delta. And when I became the vice president, one of the major things I did was to visit the most dangerous camp of the militants in the Niger Delta. I remember when we flew down to Warri, by the time we get to the waterfront to take boats to that camp, they sent information to us that anybody following me must not carry weapon. My ADC, my CSO, that nobody should carry a weapon. In fact, the Commissioner of Police of Delta State said, Vice President, no, you will not go there. The State Director of SSS to say, no, I will not go. I told them I will go. So even my officers, my ADC, my CSO and so on, they handed over their guns to the CP and the SDS of Delta State. And none of them carried weapon. When we landed at the camp, these boys lying up one this way, one road this way, with their assault rifles, just facing the bush, not even looking at my direction as if there was nothing happening. We passed through them, sorry. We had a meeting with their leaders and so on. We had spent almost 1 hour there. When we came back, that was the beginning of solving the the Niger Delta crisis. And we're able to get through. At least now there's reasonable pace in the Niger Delta. If you, like Bishop mentioned, the 82 and 83, when we have the Maitasine religious crisis in this country. From research, the Maitasine religious crisis, when some of them were arrested and analyzed and interviewed, they came from parts of the Sahel area between Nigeria and outside Nigeria, where we had major drought within that period. And the river pest disease that wiped out so many cattle. And so many young people from these areas migrated to the cities, Maiduguri and others, and they had no skills and nothing to do. And they were able to be recruited and cause havoc. Luckily, it was a military government then. So when the military intervened, they were able to bring it down because there was a clear reason. A reason of young people who were looking for survival, but they had no skills, and so on and so forth. So if you put all these things together, you begin to say, this Boko Haram, why is it that from 2009 till date, we've not been able to resolve the crisis of Boko Haram? So just like Bishop Kuka tried to raise some fundamental issues. Yes, we need to approach it differently. The issue of carrots and the stick may be adopted. And yes, probably they need such a, but if you look at the weapons they use and you value the weapons, then you know that these are not hungry people. So the soldiers that sometimes capture some of the weapons will see better. But the weapons they use, the ammunitions they use, sometimes they even have more ammunitions than our soldiers. So it doesn't show that they're hungry people. And where are these guns, sophisticated weapons coming from? And you begin to see that the external hands are also involved, especially when I was a president. So it's a bit complex. And it's not a matter of a single story. But I believe as a nation, we have to look at the concept of Boko Haram and approach it differently from the conventional approach. I believe one day we'll get over it. So once again, let me thank you, General Irabo for this, because I always appreciate people who clearly document events, so that maybe sometimes when we write our own, we'll borrow from...
They wanted Nigeria to burn if Buhari did not become president in 2015. I contested alongside Buhari for Senate. I contested for Senate in 2011. You have it on YouTube. He said, soaked in blood, the baboon and the... Ever since he made that comment, I refused to go and campaign with Buhari. Refused completely. It didn't matter if I lost the Senate seat. I won it eventually. Insecure for a former president to say, you soak in blood. And then there was, Kaduna is my state. There was serious violence in Kaduna. Many houses were burnt. Emir's houses in Ongwansariki, Demna Abba had their houses burnt and all that, simply because of a statement. They went and brought in people from those neighboring places in readiness to remove Jonathan by all means. So the desperation of people to get Jonathan out of power has built up and added to what we call insecurity in Nigeria today.
So you're inferring that all what we have seen over the last few years as insecurity is orchestrated?
Of course.
And it's political?
Of course. Last year around this time.
This narrative.
Last year around this time. Whatever I tell you, I'll try to give you evidence. Last year around this time, we were just negotiating the release of our own nephew. And when he came out, what he said is not much different from what Nasiru El-Rufai is saying. They complained that, and this young man is alive. He could come here tomorrow and you interview him. He's alive now in Zaria. He's alive. That, look, they're not making much money relying on these handouts from government. Each time they go out to operate, they make more money. Like he does in their hand. We kept negotiating. He's alive and he can come to this and sit with you, Shehu Akimbaloyi, and you interview him. This is a fact. But my grudge with Nasiru's statements is that he was part and parcel of APC from 2013. Like he told you, he was one of the architects of it all. All of a sudden, to come and absolve himself and call others. No. Nasiru is part and parcel of all that has been going on. We suffered, we are victims of Nasiru's misrule in Zaria. Go back December 2015, when a war was supposed to have been won in the Northeast. What business, what military and strategic business did an army chief have to come to Zaria for a convocation, not of NDA, graduation of recruits, privates, choosing to follow the route where the Shiites were holding? All these things were orchestrated. They knew the exact hour, the exact minute that he was coming to pass, because they had the technology. And 800 people were killed because they wanted to raise down the temple that was built. These things were carefully doctored and orchestrated.
These are heavy allegations that you are making. And which one will imagine? One will imagine someone of your status in the society. Yeah. Why are you just saying this? Why are you saying this? Does it amount to a political gimmick? Or no. What exactly are you up to with this?
Shehu, I've been saying it. I said it in your own program. I mentioned the link about North Africa. In your own program, go back and check.
I beg, pay attention, listen to this so that you go understand everything with Jonathan talk. Listen to wetin this barrister talk about Nnamdi Kanu and about wetin government they do, so that you go understand everything with Jonathan and wetin that he talk on this video.
80%, if not 90% of the people of Southeast, the Igbos, they are with Nnamdi Kanu. They know that Nnamdi Kanu is not a criminal, is not a terrorist. I want to commend them. That one is on that. Then secondly, Dr. Bat, you said that you know all that transpired yesterday. I beg to disagree. You don't know all that transpired yesterday. Because what you people, just like Vimbai commended the judiciary for allowing to stream the judgment live. Now you ask yourself, what stopped the judiciary from streaming the trial live so that people will understand what happened? But that one is a different ballgame.
Just a moment. Just a moment. I didn't say that I know what transpired. I was not in the court. When did I say I know all that transpired yesterday?
Okay.
I just asked you to react to what happened yesterday. I didn't say so.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I was not in open court.
Sorry,
I would have known.
I withdraw it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. Now, I also want to join, I want to call all well-meaning Nigerians to join hands into this matter so that the Court of Appeal will set aside this judgment. Doctor, but I want to tell you that as at yesterday, when the judgment was given, there in America, where our delegates were facing the U.S. Congress, one of the congressmen now raised this issue. He narrated the kind of injustice Nnamdi Kanu have suffered in the hands of Nigeria, as if the man is a Nigerian. So most of the times when we are talking, these people get information more than you. Let me just start by saying that Nnamdi Kanu has suffered the highest injustice any other person can suffer in the whole world, here in Nigeria, in his own country. One, he was enjoying his bail. A government, the prosecutor, who is prosecuting him, went to his house in Afaruku, unprovoked, and they killed 38 persons and left with 13 corpses as we speak. As we are talking about, as a result of that, he lost the parents. Now, as if that one is not enough, Nnamdi Kanu ran away and deposed affidavit from Israel. My Lord, I'm in Israel. Look at the circumstances that made me to run away. The affidavit, who have it, is in the court file. Please, if my Lord can guarantee my security, I will come back to face my trial. While that one was on, he was unlawfully brought back to Nigeria here. And the United Nations, through their special rapporteur, gave a decision saying that Nnamdi Kanu never is not a terrorist, Nnamdi Kanu never jumped bail, that as a matter of urgency, that Nigeria should release Nnamdi Kanu. They refused that judgment. Federal High Court in Umuahia look at all the whole matters we filed, and they said that Nnamdi Kanu should be released, and that federal government should pay Nnamdi Kanu 50 billion naira. As we speak to you, the federal government has not complied with that judgment. The same thing applied to Enugu High Court and what have you. I'm not talking about that of Kenya. Coming back to Nigeria here, we continue with the trial. Then Court of Appeal unanimously discharged Nnamdi Kanu, and they said that no court should try Nnamdi Kanu. Federal government refused to comply with that order, and they kept Nnamdi Kanu unlawfully for 9 days before they now file what they call motion for stay in a criminal matter, the first in history. Now, when they filed the motion for stay, the matter gets to Supreme Court. Supreme Court, in looking at all these things, Supreme Court made an decision. One, that Nnamdi Kanu never jumped bail. The court ought not have revoked his bail. And they condemned the attitude of military, sending Operation Python dams in his house and massacred many people there.
All right.
And they directed the Federal High Court, let me finish, let me make this submission. And they referred the matter back to Federal High Court to continue with the trial, with the intention that the matter will continue with the Honorable Justice Binta Nyako's court. So when we get there, Binta Nyako now recused himself. The matter now get back to Justice Omotosho. Nnamdi Kanu took a fresh plea. That plea Nnamdi Kanu took before Justice Binta Nyako is no longer effective. He now took a plea, a fresh plea, in a fresh court, starting de novo.
Okay.
Now that was where the issue of repealed law comes in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much for breaking it down for us this morning. Now, you said as part of your statement that a significant number of people in the Southeast are sympathetic at best to the plight of Nnamdi Kanu. Now, in the interest of public peace and in the interest of national security, how should this matter be managed pending when the next decision, whether to appeal or not, will be taken by Nnamdi Kanu. I say this because I believe that at the end of the day, what we want is to ensure that we don't further incite people to aggression or to violence, and that we are able to have some peace in the Southeast. Also, I'd like you to comment on the situation of the sit-at-home order. In terms of that regard, would you ask that people return, or we are hopeful that we will see an end to this Monday sit-at-home order in the Southeast?
Well, I want to start by saying that the issue of sit-at-home, some people took advantage of Nnamdi Kanu's incommunicado and be issuing unnecessary order. When this issue started, Nnamdi Kanu personally sent me to Europe to go and talk to Simon Ekpa that he should stop this sit-at-home. I think either in this studio or in another studio, where we also issue that whatever thing that you are doing, Nnamdi Kanu is not a party to it. Lucky enough, one day, the DSSS allowed Nnamdi Kanu to speak from the court. Nnamdi Kanu also made it very clear to everybody. That one is on that. Now, back to your question. The best way to handle this thing is for Court of Appeal to set aside this most embarrassing judgment aside and allow Nnamdi Kanu to continue with his agitation. And the federal government now call him. My brother, why are you agitating? So that, one, because yesterday, in the judgment, you are comparing Nnamdi Kanu's agitation with Boko Haram. Somebody that told you that, look at what I am fighting for. Look at what I'm fighting for. Instead of you to call the person, what is the problem? How do we feel that we can resolve this thing? You know, I'll tell you, this is what gave rise to this agitation, this is what gave rise to this agitation. Then you address it. The agitation will just die naturally. Now, why the judgment yesterday is because Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo. Yes, it is because Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo. You can't do it to any other tribe in Nigeria.
No, Maxwell.
I want to prove it. Yes, I want to prove it. I want to prove it.
No, I want to just say, wait, hold on. I want to say that it's important that we're able to not incite any form of aggression based on this assertion. So except you're able to prove beyond reasonable doubt, please don't make such assertion.
So my people, wait on a thing, drop on a thought at the comment section, and don't forget to share this video to everyone on every social media. Now the only one of you take encourage supporters, and don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates.